This demonstration is designed to show you how to run the FRCC Mapping Tool with LANDFIRE data to calculate and map vegetation departure and vegetation condition class. For this example, I will be working with data for a project area in northern Minnesota. I'll zoom into that area so that you can see the data I've preloaded into this ArcMap project. The input data include three pieces of information. First, the reference conditions. In this case, a grid of reference vegetation types called BPS or biophysical settings. Second, I have the current conditions. In this case, a succession class grid which shows the current distribution of the succession classes on the landscape. Third, I have a summary unit grid. In this case, a watershed grid. These are two 8th code HUCs in the project area. The map tool is going to calculate departure within each of these watersheds. These are the input data required to run the map tool. This is the map tool. It's a simple toolbar that you can activate in ArcMap. The first button is the frequency and severity editor, which is used for calculating the fire regime part of the FRCC equation. We will only be looking at the vegetation condition class, so I'll go to the second button, which opens the map tool interface. From this interface, you can direct the map tool to your input data. First, you'll need to select the location where you want to save the output files. You will want to use a new empty output folder every time you run the map tool. Next, point the tool to the reference condition database. The map tool comes preloaded with reference condition tables from the LANDFIRE project. I'll select LFNat or LANDFIRE National Reference Conditions for this example, and then click OK. Next, select the output layers you want the tool to create. Notice that you can get vegetation condition outputs, fire regime condition outputs, or the FRCC outputs. For this example, I want vegetation departure and vegetation condition class outputs. The last step is to point the map tool to your spatial data input layers. First, select the landscape level and the unique code for each summary unit. Notice that you can select up to 3 landscape levels. This allows you to calculate condition class using different size summary units for different vegetation types. I will only use one level for this example. Next, select your BPS grid and the unique code for that grid. Finally, select your succession class grid and the unique code in that grid. Then click OK. Now you can hit the Run button. The map tool will give you a message that says it is validating your input layers. Before making any calculations, the map tool goes through a series of checks to make sure you have provided valid input data. For example, it checks to make sure that every vegetation type on your map has a corresponding entry in the reference conditions table. If your data fails a check, the map tool will give you an error message and you will have to edit your data and try again. I've received the success message, and you can see that the output data has been automatically loaded into the project. Continue to the second map tool demo video to review the map tool results.